Then let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. I would entertain, excuse me, a motion to approve the minutes from August 23rd, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from August 23rd, 2016, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from August 30th, special meeting 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the special meeting on October 30th, signify by saying aye. Oh, that's September, I'm sorry. August 30th.
No, you said October, that's why.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. God, I'm sorry. Anyway, approving the minutes from the special meeting on August 30th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? You gonna vote?
Oh, I'm still right, I wasn't
The
there.
30th, that was the short one.
No, that's great, Scottish.
Okay, so then
One abstention.
I
I
vote,
won't abstain.
Okay.
and I'll vote in the affirmative, the motion passes.
Okay.
All right, additions and deletions, I need to add 2 pieces of correspondence. I need to add a letter from Rob Thompson and a letter from the Army Corps of Engineer Eric Peterson to the agenda. Is there any other additions or deletions?
P-E-D-E-R-S-O-N?
S-E-N.
S-E-N, okay.
Okay, hearing none. I would like to postpone the executive session that's on the agenda until such time as the highway foreman is here, so we can include him in that discussion.
I would agree.
So let's just move that on. Okay, we can't move it on down. What can we do that doesn't require, we can go ahead and start on the bills?
You could mention Windham Hill Road state work if you want, just because that'll be, I know you want to do that with
Well,
Clerk.
he was,
I wanna do all of that when he's
Okay,
here.
okay.
So let's go on down to the warrants to 6 and we'll go back up and pick up 4 and 5.
You going with the type number?
You're
Yeah,
going
I'm
with,
just gonna, I'll put the date in, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'll just do one. Yeah.
I think that's how you've gotten this down.
Yeah. Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 1 out of payroll in the amount of $9,126.11.
is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving payroll warrant number 1 in the amount of $9,126.11 signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed?
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 2 in the amount of $3,497.38.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant number 2 in the amount of $3,497.38 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 3 for payroll in the amount of $7,950.64.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant number 3 in the amount of $7,950.64 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 4 for payroll taxes in the amount of $3,243.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant number 4 in the amount of $3,243 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 5 out of the general fund in the amount of $158.20.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 5 in the amount of $158.20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 6 out of the general fund in the amount of $3,109.76.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying General fund warrant number 6 in the amount of $3,109.76, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? You're not gonna vote on
I
that?
said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Bob was quiet,
Okay,
different, quiet, place,
okay, go ahead, Kyle.
usually.
Alright, I make a motion to approve check warrant report number 7 out of the general fund in the amount of $1,467.68.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 7 in the amount of $1,467.68, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Now you're gonna be a problem, right? Okay.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 8 out of the highway fund in the amount of $55,755.37.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I just want to note that this includes the crushing bill for the gravel crushing. So, no further discussion, then all those in favor of approving highway warrant number 8 in the amount of $55,755.37, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 9 out of the highway equipment fund, town equipment fund, in the amount of $1,357.70.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 9 in the amount of $1,357.70, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 10 out of the town general fund in the amount of $572,332.32.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Oh, you want me to say it? That's the payments to the 2 schools.
Oops.
Well, I'm just saying. So, is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 10 in the amount of $572,300.32, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. You're being quiet again.
Yeah, aye, well, for one of them, I don't care.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 11 out of the highway fund in the amount of $80,153.89.
You know where I stand on that.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? Just FYI, that warrant includes the paving. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying highway warrant number 11 in the amount of $80,153.89, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Kyle, between the two of you, either my hearing's gone or you're just not speaking tonight. Go ahead.
I think
Okay.
I don't recall. Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $1,725.34.
Aye.
Second.
Okay, you seconded it, so don't confuse me. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying? Okay, we're on 13. 12?
Equipment.
Okay, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 12 in the amount of $3,104.16, signify by saying aye.
Whoop,
No,
whoop, whoop. I got a 1725.34.
$1,725.34.
Hold that there.
Number 12.
I need to start using line paper.
Yes.
Okay.
We can
In the
help
amount
you.
of $1,745.34, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Now I'll get it.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 13 out of the general fund in the amount of $3,104.16.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 13 in the amount of $3,104.16, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 14 out of the general fund in the amount of $7,382.96.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying general fund warrant 14 in the amount of $7,382.96 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 15 out of the general fund in the amount of $12,902.49.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 15 in the amount of $12,902.49 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 16 out of the highway fund in the amount of $3,465.77.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying highway warrant number 16 in the amount of $3,465.77 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 17 out of the general fund in the amount of $5,800.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 17 in the amount of $5,800 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Just FYI, it's a lot of numbers. The total amount that was just spent was $772,500.77. Cool, $772,000.
$772,000?
$500.77. $750,000.
Cheap enough.
Okay.
Not
Now,
bad, not bad for a month.
no, not bad for a month. So we'll just move back up to where we were. Let's go back up to number 4 on the agenda. The ones are done. And let's see. I'll entertain a motion to find that premature public knowledge of pending or probable civil litigation will place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage if held in public. I will entertain that motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those of finding premature discussion will place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So then, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session under 1 VSA 313 A1E to include Kurt Bostrom and Craig Hunt.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of moving into executive session at 6:13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So it shouldn't take us too long. We just have some housekeeping to do,
Yeah.
and then we'll be good. We're back in session. Thank you, everyone. So I think in the interest of keeping the people who are not in this room informed of what's going on, I'm going to read the letter that you sent on to us.
First of all, we just address what the.
Oh, that's right. Well,
What we're
first thing
talking about.
well, first of all, first thing we have to do is rescind the first motion. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to reconsider the motion made at the August 23rd, 2016 minute to have this,
Town hall record.
that's not what it says. No, I lost it.
I gave it to you.
I understand that, but it's to have the highway foreman get written permission from the landowner, Angell, to address the water runoff issues by improving the swale across her property. And it was seconded by Kyle. So I'll entertain a motion to reconsider that.
So move.
Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any reason to discuss why we're discussing the rescinding that motion? Do we all understand what's going on?
Well, yeah, because the reason will come out in our discussion.
Right, so at this point in time, then all those in favor of rescinding the motion to instruct the highway foreman to get written permission from the landowner, Angell, and address water runoff issues by approving the swale on her property, signify by saying aye. To rescind.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. So, now what happened on the 23rd is gone.
Yep.
Now, let's read the new correspondence. Okay, on Friday, August 26th,
Who's the
edition.
spelling date?
Well, I'm gonna read it when I get to it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
One's a revision, isn't it? Didn't I write two things?
There are two things, but see, there again, I'm a little bit confused, because this one page that we have starts with the sentence, because much of the town's Vermont highway water disposal system was designed, and this is just a short thing about Vermont Digger,
Okay,
okay?
yeah,
So I'll start with the piece about the Vermont Digger.
okay.
On Friday, August 26th edition of the Vermont Digger contained an article about the water sewer roadway runoff in Vermont's towns and cities. Since reading it, I've concluded that the center of the town of Townsend might also contain contaminated runoff, because most townspeople have septic systems and some of those may be old and leaking. Given that really filthy town water may be flowing on my property, I now have concluded that instead of catch basins with a swale, the town personnel should dig a ditch and install a culvert all the way across the property. My backyard is less than 1 acre and the town has created a water dump in the middle of my yard. If the town cannot afford this, cannot at this time afford the culvert ditch, I will loan the town money for no interest. I've already paid the property taxes for the first half of 2016-17 year, but deducting the amount of the loan from part of or all of 2017 could be possible as a way to repay the loan. The mess in my yard was not created by me, so the stones will need to be disposed of and the silt buildup leveled and receded. Okay, so that was dated August 27th.
Okay.
And received on August 29th was this piece of correspondence.
Yeah, one of them I think is giving you permission and really just reactivating what must have been an easement once upon a time.
This doesn't say anything about permission. I'm confused.
We'll read it. And,
Okay.
That way it'll be a matter of record.
Okay, because much of the Townsend, Vermont highway water disposal system was designed and implemented circa 1880 to 1910, and it still terminates by crossing the backyard of parcel 2209 Route 30, town personnel have a grandfathered right included in an easement of sorts, which permits the building and servicing of a swale midway across said 1 acre parcel. The water continues under a stone lintel at the base of the stone wall opposite the road culvert. There it flows over 2 steps in the backside of the wall, where the remaining road water from downtown Townsend, without undermining that stone wall, drains along the east edge of the town's meadow and into a low area where it forms a vernal pond in the spring and a frozen pond during the winter. This ingenious engineering project is recorded in the Townsend town records, where the names of and amounts paid to the laborers for that project are listed. Therefore, this document is a continuation of the 1880/1990 easement to the swale. 1980. Let's try again, yeah. 1910 easement to the swale, which was found on the lot in the spring of 1997, after the brush was cleared and junk removed from that site. The 2 following requirements are an update to the easement. Now, is this what you're saying this is a proposal, or is this something that was in the records? This update to the easement?
No, I think I'm giving you permission as an updated easement.
Okay, so you're saying that this is what you would like to see as part of the updated easement? Okay. Then number 1, an area under the Oakwood Cemetery Road's culvert's exit needs to be enlarged to approximately 6 feet deep with an 8-foot circumference to collect all the silt and trash, and the bottom of the basin should be covered with stones. Connected to the basin should be a swale. That swale should be at least 4 feet deep, 5 feet wide. The reconstructed swale will
But
allow...
that part, you don't need to read, because I suggested,
No, that's right.
after reading the article in the Vermont Digger, that it really should be a culvert.
Yeah, but we want to read it.
Let's just...
Read for the record.
Yeah, I
no.
wrote that when I wrote, what
Right.
you're reading now, I wrote before I had read the Vermont Digger article,
Okay.
okay?
All right, connected to the basin should be a swale. That swale should be at least 4 feet deep and 5 feet wide. The reconstructed swale will allow water to accumulate in the receiving stone bottom catch basin approximately 6 feet deep with an 8-foot circumference. The lower basin is located where the water goes under the stone lintel, which needs to be raised and straightened, and the new culvert piece will become the overflow in times of flooding. The new swale will need to be maintained. A place for mowing machines to traverse must also be included. Once the lintel is lifted and straightened, I will be responsible for replacing the stones in the stone wall and also the culvert piece. Number 2, when the town replaces the too small and damaged culvert under the road to the cemetery, any owner should expect that a covered culvert will be placed in the swale and basins, thus making the owner's property easier to maintain and the town's maintenance costs for the water disposal far less. In addition, I have borne the cost 4 times in 20 years of removing the brush along the roadside of the stone wall I share with the town, and since I have paid Restotronic and Jim Crozier and Nick Litchfield to cut overhanging and rotten limbs from the town property, I am now asking that while the town machinery is on my property, the town personnel lift the rocks that have fallen from our wall onto my property back to the wall, since they are too heavy for any man to lift. I think it's reasonable to expect them to always do it, because it makes it impossible to use machinery in the wall.
There were some stones that when I had the wall repaired, caused brush to grow around them because they can only be lifted with machinery. That's the problem.
Okay, so
Not many, 1 or 2.
So basically, I guess I want to ask you specifically what your request is of this board. Now that we're starting with a clean sheet of paper, what is your request?
I think the culvert is the best idea. And if the town can't afford it, I'm happy to loan them money.
A culvert across the
The
property
culvert,
to.
the culvert,
the town.
cover it up, and then, it's maintenance free after that, for everybody.
Now, we're talking about a culvert all the way across your property,
Yep,
so that it exits on the other side of your stone wall on that other
Yep.
side.
yep.
Okay,
If I,
go ahead.
number one, I'm really bowled over by this letter. My feet came right out from underneath me, I couldn't believe it. And I'll start by apologizing to you, Rob. When we went out there for the site visit and everything, and you said no, and you weren't in favor of this, to me it seemed like Miss Angell was being reasonable, and we had a simple, easy, inexpensive resolution to the problem. Then when I got this letter, it was totally, I said, oh, Christ, Rob was right. Pardon me, so I'll apologize to you for that. I think this is far away and beyond what we had even begun to look at. And speaking with, just a minute, and speaking with other contractors and people with a little bit of knowledge and at least describing what that situation is, I just want to talk to the board that we, and to Kurt, that we may want to just consider replacing the culvert at a higher elevation and not trespassing or entering her property at all, to leave it like it is and do nothing more. The other thing that I do want to address with you, Miss Angell, is that you always said that you cut the brush and that sort of thing without any expectations from the town or anything, and now you're expecting the town to, you're using that as a leverage. And therefore, I don't think that there should be, and what I wrote in the letter was, therefore, expectation of special treatment of compensation didn't enter into our decision before, and now you're using it to enter into our decision. So I was pretty dismayed at that. It seemed like what you presented to us over there, what you presented to the board to begin with, and what you're presenting now is miles and miles apart. And I'm appalled.
If the culvert is up high, the water is still going to be emptying on my property?
And, yeah, like it has been since whatever it is.
But then it went
And the
into
stone,
a,
and I understand that stone and stuff that's there on your property now, wasn't that brought in by some
no,
contractor
that's
that
not
you
the stone
hired?
I was talking about.
Oh, okay, I just wanted
No,
to be
these
clear
were
on it.
big rocks from the stone wall.
Mm.
The rocks
So-
that were brought in on the property were brought because I was told I was going to have to do this.
Well, I was pretty appalled about your whole turnaround from what you presented.
So then you're not even going to do a swale?
I
You just,
just said what I feel, it's up to the board, not just me,
so the water from the whole town just empties onto my property?
like it has been, yeah.
I will,
That's the rest of the board, please speak. And Kirk, I certainly want to hear from you. You're the highway foreman and
Well, no, I don't.
you know, I don't want to leave you out of the discussion.
I-
I'm just telling you how I feel,
I'm
because I
replacing
went
the
to
culvert.
bat, see, I went to bat for this whole thing.
Yes.
And I stood behind Miss Angell for a simple, easy, inexpensive resolution that she seemed to present and be happy with. And next thing is we get this whole reversal, so that's, I don't know.
Did you-
The board can do what they want, but that's where I stand.
We can, I'm gonna look at the culvert to see if we have enough elevation and drop to replace a new culvert at a better level, so it's not so deep on your property to create a pool. But as far, that it's been there for over 100 years now.
But with a swale across it. It was not designed just to empty there, and there was a swale when I bought it.
We don't normally go out.
And you can see with the design where the water went under and the two little steps down below and where the water was meant to go. And it was designed that way. So I don't think I'm asking for anything that should not have been put in an easement. And by the way, when I bought the property, there was something that had been dug up nearer my house where my patio is, across my lawn. And I asked Harold Newell at the time, I said, well, what's this new digging here? And he said, well, that's where the sewer line for the houses up the street go. And a tree that was on my property had gotten around the roots and it had to be dug up. So when I had my deed done for the house, I asked my attorney then. I told her about this and I said, shouldn't there be an easement on my property, on the deed for this? And she said yes. Had I known there was a swale on the property, I'd have asked for that there should be an easement for that as well. And I couldn't see, you know how overgrown that property was when I bought it. So, nobody could see anything on it.
Yeah, at this point in time, I agree with Kit's position, and after the division was over, I felt like I acted too hastily, and I don't want to set precedents on behalf of the town.
I will say one thing, that we've done some research on the responsibilities with the highway department. And the Orange Book, which is essentially Kurt's Bible, says, I'll quote the drainage rights passage. It says, the rights of municipalities to maintain ditches or to discharge water from culverts on private property outside the right-of-way or not in natural drainage patterns are sometimes questioned. In those instances where there are no recorded rights, municipalities may need to rely on having acquired a permanent right by having used it for a period of over 15 years, which the town of Townshend has clearly done. From using it from 1880. So, even from the state's perspective, the fact that drainage system was on your property, I don't think the fact it's coming from behind the hospital, the school, and that whole section, that's not anything that's new or different. I'll agree from Kit's perspective, I like the idea of taking a look at that culvert and seeing what can be done to mitigate it from our obligation point being that culvert. Again, that road, I don't know what's involved with taking that road out, if there are any properties that would be involved, or is it just a cemetery?
One.
Just one property
Yeah.
involved on the other side of the road?
Right.
But the culverts in,
In Jefferson.
yeah, but the culvert itself from the Vermont culvert inventory is in fair condition, so there's no problem now with it drain, it doesn't plug it.
No.
It works
We do-
perfectly
and I-
fine.
And it all started, I did clean out the end of it. It's never plugged.
So that's what I'm
Clean out the
saying,
end,
it's,
try to-
it's never plugged, so you can just leave it and we'll just go on the way it has been, right?
we do that, yes.
But it keeps flooding on my property, as you can see. I mean, if you look at the stone
Because
wall
it's
down
done since
across,
1880,
across there, you can see where it's up this far, where leaves and stuff have gone up.
We keep reverting back to 1880 to 1910. I'm pretty sure that before 1880, water was running downhill.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I think it was.
The question would be, is there anything that anybody would like to make some kind of a motion to actually have a discussion about a specific topic? Or are we just gonna,
I think the only thing to make a motion on would to have Kirk explore the possibility of, would it be more beneficial to replace the metal culvert with a plastic one if the Angles,
If it needs it, but it
if
doesn't
it
need
needs
it.
it, if the Angles would allow it,
Yeah, but
would improve it.
if the culvert that's there is accepting all the water that comes to it,
It doesn't need
then it really
replacement.
doesn't need to be replaced. I mean, if there was a problem where it was plugging up or it couldn't accept all the water coming to it and was running over the road, then we'd be in need of a different setup.
And that would be a Jeffrey's problem because it would flood their yard.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that the only way to keep the water from coming on my house, from my land, is to build a wall out in front of it.
you can certainly do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
Up
only
to the
way.
point where it endangers the road.
What'd you say?
I say you can pool the water, I assume, up to the point where it endangers any municipal property. Because the culvert drains the town and it protects that road. But I don't think you can do anything adverse to affect the road, so to
Or the
speak.
drainage,
Or the drainage, yeah.
as it presently drains.
I mean, you can pool the water by building a wall if you pool the water and have that drain somewhere else. You can make that drain anywhere you want to on your property, I would gather, but it can't come back onto the road. Because then we'd have to deal with that. It can't harm the road.
Well, I guess what it
You
would.
can't
it
dam
would
it
back-
to the-
It would back up into the drain, the
It's still
trench
gonna
where
run that
Joe's
way.
is.
Your land is lower than the land beside you, period. So unless you fill it in, there's a grade situation. It's not a situation of where did the water come, there's a grade situation. It is higher on Jeffers than it is on your land. Plain and simple, Mrs. Angel.
And that's why there was a trench.
It was like that when you bought it.
There
It
a
was
trench
like that
there,
when
that's
Harold
right.
Newell bought it. It was like that when the first founders of this town came to this town. Your land was lower than the neighboring
And I
property.
know, and that's why the town designed it with a trench across there to empty into the little place on the opposite wall and have it float down into that little pool on the town's
It
property.
was flowing until you guys put the stone in the ditch.
There's no stone in the ditch.
Well, go open your eyes and look at it. There's stone in the ditch,
Yeah.
the swale.
The swale is filled in from the silt that's come in through that culvert.
What's
That's
all that
what's filled it
crushed?
up.
What's the stone on top of the grass then?
That,
Parts of it.
that stone was pushed in because he said I had to do the trench, which I, obviously, if there's going to be a trench, it looks as though it's my responsibility, but I don't see why it's my responsibility when that silt from the town keeps filling a trench I would put in.
Well, I don't.
That's really unfair.
I don't know.
And then I pay taxes for that property that essentially the town is using,
I-
right?
I think that we went the extra mile and tried to make a resolution to it, and you certainly didn't seem satisfied with that. So I
You
say we
said
just
you
leave
would
it like it
leave
is.
to a swale now, that's what you said.
Yeah, oh,
So, I think that.
that's what I said, and
I
unless the
think
board
that
can do it
perhaps
alone.
that the thing to do then would be pay less taxes. If the town's using this as a water dump, which essentially is what you're doing, then I think that my taxes should be less to compensate for that.
Certainly agreed.
You can agree with it.
Well, I guess I'll have to, yeah, because I think it's unfair. I don't think that Carol Nellis would like it on her property,
Carol Ellis has a culvert up in her property.
right on her, in her backyard. like that.
Yes.
Trust me.
Real happy about it, you don't want to open up that.
She's not happy about it either, I guess.
And there's several others in town that are in the
Several.
same situation.
With the whole town's water on their property.
Well, with lots of water, not the whole.
She gets
you
a lot
don't
of
have the
Simpson
whole
Brook
town
on her
either.
property.
Yeah.
I get a lot of Simpson Brook on mine.
Yep.
Charlotte Clay gets Depot Road.
All right,
Depot Road.
I did my best.
You did, thank you.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Then, the grants for Plumb Road, the stabilization grant, we still haven't signed any of those, they're still here on my clipboard. Have we made any progress with getting that pole
No.
moved, or?
I have called Fairpoint, and Fairpoint said, we will get in touch with Green Mountain Power.
Okay, so
So
that's-
is there any way that we can help expedite that? I mean,
I
because it just goes on and on
I
and
know.
on and on and on.
I have no other,
You,
what
maybe-
other avenues do I have to go?
Maybe the town,
Cut the
from
pole
the
down?
select
We have
board,
a chainsaw?
if we could write them a letter
Okay, yeah.
from the select board
Yep.
requesting that this be attended to. I understand that
Is it
the
the
highway and I'd like the letter to say, we understand, the select board understands that the highway foreman has contacted you on numerous occasions without any response.
Is the pole in the right of way?
Right away?
It's right at the end of that driveway, isn't it? Right at the corner there?
No.
Okay.
It's down the hill, they put up a new pole, but the old pole's still hooked up with all the wires and the guy wire right where we're gonna do the work.
So they just need to.
I need that poll number,
You do.
because I'm not sure which one it is then.
Okay.
Can you give me the poll number?
I certainly think,
Fairpoint, highway foreman, multiple.
because they put up the pole pretty quick, and then that was the end of it.
So then the other piece of that same grant package, for lack of a better word, is the network inventory.
Yeah.
What do you plan to do now that Mr.
Man,
I just talked to Chris Campany today about that, because I know it's come to the meeting tonight, and he referred me to Jeff Nugent. Jeff Nugent's taking over the inventory. And the state of Vermont, Mark Pickering said they're gonna help out also, because they know they're behind the times now, because they lost two good people at the Windham Regional Commission. So it'll be done by the end of November.
So are we paying somebody to do it? What are we doing?
We're gonna go through our grant through the Windham Regional Commission, and that grant's gonna pay that, yes,
Okay,
And I will help
then I'm
them
gonna
out.
ask you a question that I know you can't answer.
and yes.
Okay, one of the things that Windham Regional is doing is adding a federal surcharge onto these bills that we're receiving. We saw it with the planning commission. And I need to know before we get into any kind of contract, any kind of agreement with Windham Region, whether we're going to be paying for their building rent and their lights, et cetera, in Brattleboro. It's a set fee that the percentage of the fee the state allows them to charge, or the feds allow them to charge.
What exactly do you want me to ask?
What is it called, Craig?
It's a federal, it's on warrants here, so let's hold that for 1 second, I'll give you the exact language.
Who's our Windham Regional Planning Commission rep for the town?
we don't have.
Well, we do.
Actually, you do have it with Brad Horn.
Brad Horn,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he's participated.
Okay, all right.
I couldn't tell you.
No, I know, this is the first I ever heard about it.
Well, it set us back the first time we started looking at
Is
it.
it a tangible amount of money?
It's usually double the amount that Windham Regional is charging.
And you guys pay when the regional
We do.
I'll give this to you in just a second.
This is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, so we've got planning commission's got John Bennett working, and Jeff Nugent working on maps. You know, they came up with $155. The federally approved indirect rate is 103 on that particular one. But I know you talked You went original about that, I thought you talked to Chris.
And I have, well, no, it wasn't actually.
It wasn't Chris, no.
But I asked about that federally approved indirect rate, which is essentially doubling the rate.
Sure.
And I was told that that's what the federal government allows Windham Regional to charge for their overhead costs. That would be things like their lights.
Well, what are you guys paying for?
We're working on town plan. Maps
No,
and
but that's,
whatever. I'm
that's,
sorry.
what do we pay our assessment for is what you're asking.
Right. What does that cover?
It doesn't cover their overhead. It cover, I don't remember what he told me. It's been so long now since
It
I.
covers their, what do I want to say? Their representation of the municipality.
Well,
in
yeah,
the
but
county,
the personnel
in the
piece,
district,
yeah.
right. Right.
All right, I'll ask him because.
But like I said, I do
If
know.
it's gonna double it, we might as well go with, Everett Hammond, because it would be,
Well, he was a lot less anyway, as you said.
yeah,
You pass it.
but we didn't have the grant. Or the grant was for the original planning commission.
No, it's just a structure,
It's just structure, they would have covered him,
would have covered anybody.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
just
because at the
straight.
meetings, they were pushing on the regional planning.
Well, I'm sure they were pushing all the,
Matt Mann was doing the meetings, so yeah,
okay, so let me just find the correct one. No, this is, God, they can't tell you on the front page what it's for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it should be in the top right-hand corner, it should say network, or it should say, you want a number, BRO 54.
I don't see anything.
Okay, sorry, I got it right here. I thought I had them marked for you. It was like 8 copies.
Okay, that's Plum Hill, that's Plum Road, so it's.
186 is Plum Hill, and the other one is the network. So 184, is that
There's, yeah, Woodruff Road. So, yeah, that, it doesn't say anything about it having to be done via Windham Regional. It's not their grant, it's a state better roads grant.
because Wyndham Regional, they help you get the numbers and everything. 'Cause it's-
I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be them, and if they're gonna play that game, I just assume it not be them.
I got you.
Okay? Okay, so that takes care of the two grants. Now, the newest one that came out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, that I'd like somebody to explain to me, is a letter from the state saying they were going to do work on Windham Hill Road.
Guardrails and
Oh, yeah, that's
signage
finally
and-
came in, High Risk Rural Road.
Did you actually ask for that? Because
Yeah.
it was so long ago that
Like
nobody,
4 years ago.
well, it came in.
It was a long time.
They've got paperwork
Oh,
here.
yeah, we did a lot of work with that, yeah. Measured
Well,
and-
I have got a couple of requests on this one, because this one actually has to be notarized.
High Risk Rural Road.
It's here if you want to
Yeah.
take a look at it before I sign it, because it's very specific as to what they're
Oh, I
going to
did
do.
the print out of the work that they were going to do.
And one of the things they're gonna do is replace the new Windham Hill Road sign at the bottom. Did we already do that?
Yeah, that's something.
Would you please take our sign down and let them put up their own sign?
Because it's gonna be wiped out in the winter time anyways.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
remember we talked about when I did the road signs,
Yeah,
I didn't do the caution signs because this grant was supposed to be coming in, but it's been
yeah, but
almost
that's
4
4 years.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's very specific, I'm sure you'll get a list of it. But what it's going to include is removal of existing signs, posts, and installation of new signs and posts.
Yes,
And removal of existing guardrails and installation of a new guardrail, that's all it is.
yes,
Okay.
that's a lot.
But the one caveat that's in there is that when they're done, we own.
We own
And
it.
we need to maintain everything from there on out.
Well, we do, which we
We
do
do
anyways.
anyway, right.
Sure.
So, if that being the case.
So
I never paid this.
it's been 4 years. I'm wondering if
Maybe-
the grant is increased to cover the cost of living increase.
Well, this was supposed to be us paying nothing, this was a high risk
That's
rural
right.
road full
Yeah.
grant. There should be no numbers for us
There
to owe anything
aren't
on.
any. This is a
Right.
fully covered.
This is a fully,
Right.
we had Route 35 done at the same time. I applied for both of them. They replaced the signs of Route 35 all the way up to the Athens, Grafton intersection and stuff. But they never got to do that on the hill.
And it's in the queue now.
Well, it's evidently in the queue, they're waiting our signature.
Sign it up.
I was gonna say, do you need to see it before we sign it? Do you want,
We went through everything we'd walk that road twice.
You've got
measure
blind
it.
drives, you've got all kinds of things.
Yes.
Okay. So if that being the case, then
We need a motion.
I'm gonna need a motion to sign it. It's,
That's good.
yeah.
I make a motion that we sign the Form FM 0214, the High Risk Rural Roads Program for statewide South Region STP for HRRR 23 Town of Townsend.
Second.
Yeah. Is there any discussion on it? Hearing none, all those in favor of signing said document for Windham Hill Road signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. That's their signature. It looks like it's only mine. Joe, can you act
Yours
as,
on a notary, yeah.
can you act as notary for me on this one, please?
Yeah, you want the stamp?
No,
I don't think you're gonna need a state of Vermont. So
Wouldn't
that's
hurt.
the witness. There's the notary.
It's supposed to be $20.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to say 20 bucks.
What is
Well, we'll send the bill.
today's the 27th.
27th.
Yeah, but notarized, you don't get no money.
7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, overtime. In faxing, there's no money.
The town of Townsend has caused this name to be subscribed.
But
This
the
resolution
notarized.
Is there a date on that?
by-
Oh, this goes way back.
Got 48
Oh,
bucks.
date of when they're gonna start working?
No, she doesn't, it's in the queue for looking at it
Good
this
deal for
fall.
you.
2000.
It probably won't be till
Good for you.
spring.
Yeah.
I've been corresponding back and forth to find out what their commitment was and where this, actually, whether it was anything current or not, because I remember David working with you
Okay, I'm
and
not sure
me
what
and
the
everybody else
hell
on
I
it.
want here.
But it just came through all the surprise,
Causes
hey, you
name
need to
be
sign this so we can
subscribed.
do the work. And I said,
Bond.
Oh, they came here?
no, they sent me an email. And I said, this must go back a ways, and she said, oh, yeah.
So it's
Or Reese, somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
And they won't do it all, because I
Money?
think some of it's been done, whatever, they'll do
the
what it
select
needs
board
to.
chair.
Yeah.
Hate these things. They need to standardize them.
Yeah.
And do the authorization. And this one's right there. That makes no sense.
Just sign them all.
Yeah, sign them away.
If you don't get the grant, it's because I signed in the wrong spot, okay?
After 4 years, let them be a stickler for where you
Really. And if you could pass this over to Joe so he can notarize my signature, which he kind of saw.
this one place, right?
Last page.
Yep.
Okay.
And you were supposed to ask her if it's a free act and read
React
before you
on
sign
will,
it.
yes. It definitely was because I was instructed, so.
Okay.
But that's something you don't have to
Definitely
do.
free.
So the next thing on the agenda is the winter sand.
Yes,
And,
I didn't order it yet. Remember we talked about it?
well, you mentioned that they were holding the price, but you did not say, you did not ask for some, you did not propose any tonnage.
There was no motion.
Oh, okay, yeah, 'cause I asked, that was, yeah,
So what would you like?
I'd like to get 1,200 to 1,500 yards of sand, the winter sand, 3/4 inch.
Do you know what we actually budgeted? Craig?
We didn't actually do a line budget, we did a budget for materials and
Materials,
supplies.
that's right.
I can look that up, but it's all mixed in there.
We usually-
12 to 1,500, we didn't.
We usually do around 4,000 to 5,000 yards, we can only fit 2,300 in the shed. So,
So right now you want how much? Or are you?
12 to 1,500 yards
Well,
to fill up the shed.
Why not, if we're gonna do this, are we gonna do it shed full by shed full?
That's how we do it.
Is that
Well,
what
no,
I mean?
that's how we get it.
That's not how we
Right, but
approve.
last year we did it to approve a contract purchase for sand from Sossaman, at the rate, is it 1350 or 1375? Do you remember? Okay, it's the same as it was.
Same as it's been for the past 3-4 years.
And I think last year it was up to 4,000, after which, I mean, it would depend on the winter. Last year wasn't so bad, the year before was even worse.
So again, what were the numbers again?
Last year, I think it was 4,000.
Dollars or
No,
yards?
4,000 cubic yards.
4,000 cubic yards.
Okay, so I would
We
then,
get it,
Of
we
which
get
it-
it delivered as we go.
I understand that.
I just would make a motion that we contract with Sossaman Industries to purchase up to 4,000 yards of winter sand.
At what rate?
Three- 13,750, I think it's 1350, but somebody said
I
75.
said 75 is gonna be thinking twice, I thought it was 1350.
Joe said 75, and I was pretty sure it was 1350 last year. I think it's 1350 again. We'll find out, but anyway.
Okay, so
I knew it well 2 meetings ago.
Same motion.
I called them up.
yeah, it sounds like.
Motion to contract with Sossaman Industries for purchase up to 4,000?
4,000 yards.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I did.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the purchase of water sand from Sossaman, 4,000 cubic yards, signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, so did you have anything to report to us that you wanted to bring to our attention, Kurt?
Well, I called about the V-Trans mower, remember we mentioned that a couple of meetings ago, but they haven't put the bid up for that yet. And when they put the bid up for that, they have to contact the person that's doing the job to see if we can piggyback on that. I said,
But
okay.
that's worth looking into, right?
Pardon me?
That's worth looking into.
Yeah,
As soon as we find out.
see what the prices are, yeah.
Yeah.
And, the fair point. And, we have been mowing, they're picking up October 4th. We're gonna be done before that and go back and hit some more spots, I did 3 passes on all the main roads and stuff. And it seems to be working out well right now. And everybody saw the paving has been done. We're gonna have to do shoulders on some of the roads here, like we always do. Excuse me, but we can't do it until the mowing's done. We get all of this back on.
You gotta do driveways too?
No driveways. No.
You don't put a, finish off the apron.
If it's a dirt driveway.
Yeah.
We don't put gravel on the paved driveway.
No, but we should get to that sometime before
Yes.
it's too long.
Yeah, but we gotta get everybody back.
Are we looking like we're gonna be done with the mowing when we're supposed to be done with the contract?
Absolutely.
Any breakdowns?
One.
On that paving,
Yes.
the bill was more than what the bid was, and supposedly they have used more. Can you tell us where more, and, I mean, quite a lot. How many more tons? What,
10 grand, right?
roughly?
Yeah, it was
Well,
about
it's
$10,000
$10,000 more than what the original bid
Divided by
was.
62, and you'll have the tonnage, $62 a change, a ton.
Do you know how come?
Probably on East Hill, they probably use more on the shipping of East Hill, I can almost guarantee it. But they were not supposed to, they didn't exceed the $80,000.
They didn't
Yeah.
exceed the
No.
dollar amount, but they
But
exceeded
they
the bid.
exceeded their bid,
Uh-huh.
and that was,
By 10 grand.
yeah, which is quite a lot.
So we're wondering if it was, we just
It's on,
had to keep.
it's on East Hill. That road is so far out of whack. I'm sure that's where the tonnage went.
I mean, we had talked about it a little bit when we were reviewing
Because I know they put 2 in.
the warrants.
One and one on East Hill, and that's what we talked about. Because I didn't do, I just did an overlay, a shim and overlay, and we talked about the shim being so much on East Hill. But,
Okay, anything
told
else?
them not to exceed that amount of money we had.
They didn't
Well,
exceed-
And we had, I know we have
Which
all,
they didn't, but
I know we have all the tickets for the tonnage and stuff.
yeah, which we do, and Rob reviewed that. I guess I was just feeling a little bit about if somebody puts a bid in on something, that's what it should be, not, and I don't, and that's, I'm looking at us or myself as a
Right.
board member, that we ought not put that caveat not to exceed.
We did project that in there.
Yeah, we did, but I think we ought not to. I think that if a person makes a bid, I just think it's fair around, that's all. I mean, not
But
you, no, I ain't pointing
But they
fingers or
stuck-
anything,
they
I'm
stuck
just
that
looking in
fund
retrospect.
That's not in place.
Hmm.
That's 60,000.
Well, we didn't add up every single, the exact amounts of them, we just kind of rounded them up. But what the point is that it was a $68,000 bid and it turned out to be a $78,000 bill. And, they did keep it under what we asked them to not go
Exceed.
over, but at the same time, we want to know where the other $10,000 worth of pavement is. So,
And how come it wasn't in the original bid?
And yeah, they should have,
See what I'm saying?
they should have went through me before they.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just looking at things in retrospect, and at another time, we as a board and you as a person may wanna, the bid is the bid, and that's what it should be, and I don't think that we ought to put caveats in and not to exceed.
Did you have anything else for us?
No, I do not.
No?
No.
Okay, then.
Oh, what? Oh, I do have a question.
Yep.
When you don't want me to go look at that culvert to replace it then? Just to make sure.
Well, if it's not on the culvert list that needs
It's not.
replacing,
Okay.
You're
I mean,
going,
if,
Well, there's gonna be a network inventory. so
you're
it's
going
gonna
to
be
look at it
assessed.
anyway,
at some point,
through
right?
through the inventory.
But
No,
but you do need to look at, because when we did that site visit, we looked on the Jeffers side,
Yes,
and please look at that, because it looked like it was
starting to grow in.
growing in.
Well,
and
there's,
some-
More
there's
than
a,
sorry, yeah.
there's a concrete post in it.
Yeah,
There's a concrete post in it.
yeah, Bell telephone post or something.
Very, very high post.
Probably got pushed in there with a plow. and
It's-
tractor.
Yeah,
But when you look at that culvert to see if it were to be replaced, 5 years out, 10 years out, whatever, if it could be raised up a little bit, it would cure her problem to some
To
degree.
some degree, but
If it were,
it's still gonna flow.
it's gonna flow onto her property.
oh, it has.
And it's either gonna spread out or she's gonna make a swale, a ditch.
And again, I apologize, I just thought it was a simple, easy, friendly, neighborly thing.
Well, I never.
No good deed goes unpunished, right?
Okay, well then, thank you very much
All right.
for coming
Okay,
in.
that's good.
have a good night.
Okay. Yes. Okay,
Okay,
whatever's around the corner.
well,
Law enforcement, I don't know if you noticed in the bills, but there was a bill from the state police in there today, so they have been out in our area
they have that.
and are actively doing some trapping. Town clerk, you all should have a copy of the counter monies that was taken in. The treasurer,
Don't have
he doesn't have
that.
a
But I
report.
do, yeah, last week, got a thing from the bank, that's a sewer money.
Oh, for the escrow
Escrow.
for the hospital?
Yeah, 40,000 something in there.
Yep.
So just roll it over,
Oh, yeah.
That's none ours to touch.
yep, okay.
Yep, just leave it where it is. Okay, then we'll move on down to correspondence. I get to read a lot of letters tonight. Okay, so the first one we'll do is Rob Thompson's. And it says, Dear Select Board, my wife and I own a number of properties in Townsend, all of which are contiguous. The deeds for all of our properties are recorded with the same two names. The last parcel was purchased well over a year ago, yet we are still not getting the benefit of being contiguous to the rest of our property. We are requesting that you retroactively adjust our taxes for this year accordingly. The listers don't ever see the deeds. They strictly go by the state property transfer form. Our deeds all list Robert and Lydia Thompson as owners, but the state property transfer form for that last parcel has Robert and Elizabeth as owners. Elizabeth is my wife's official name and that which matches her social security number requested on the form. For this reason, the listers recorded that property different from the rest. As the deeds for the properties were all recorded with the same name, we feel it within our rights to request this adjustment. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Robert Thompson. First of all, this isn't a matter for the select board, because we certainly can't adjust taxes. My suggestion would be that Craig contact Mr. Thompson and suggest if he has this issue that he address the Board of Civil Authority. If he wants to take out some kind of
Because he's already gone to the listers, right?
he evidently is
It's
not.
not, but it's not a list position.
Right, it's not.
They rely on the state. They have a copy of this as well. They came in yesterday, they have a copy.
So essentially, it would be a matter for the BCA, of which we will be part of that sitting board, but that's not something we can act on alone. So if we're all in agreement,
I will
we'll
request
have
that
Craig.
Rob authorized me to readdress this letter to the Board of Civil Authority. And then Anita can respond.
And then, let's see, I gotta find the next one. I gotta find the next one, just a minute. Oh, I lost it, it's here. Okay, the next one is with regard to Craig Henderson from the Corps of Engineers. This was after the meeting that we had to talk about potential dredging out of the dam. And it says, good morning all, thank you again for taking the time to meet at Townshend Lake yesterday to discuss the sedimentation issue and paths forward. As discussed, this email is establishing a distribution list for status updates and questions. We at the Corps of Engineers appreciate everyone's willingness to discuss the challenges, impacts, and perspectives, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue and developing and implementing solutions to ensure that Townshend Lake is a valued resource for local communities and the public at large. Rob, was it you? Yeah, you told me when you came in that you'd seen them out doing the survey on the dam. So they are in the process of trying to determine how much actual sediment has moved into the lake area. And we were told at that meeting that
We had a meeting out there 2 Fridays ago.
we were told that potentially they was going to make every effort they could to have the beach opened next season. Just the beach was the only guarantee that they were willing to actually make, and that they were trying to get money into the budget once they knew how much material had to be moved, that they would try to get it into the Corps' budget to begin dredging sometime in 17, 18, was it?
They're working on the 18-19 budget now,
Okay.
but they're hoping that it comes before that.
We're hoping it might happen by 2050, so
Pretty much.
Well, something like that.
let's keep our fingers crossed.
One of the interesting things about the federal government and the Army Corps in particular is that their recreational facilities, the campgrounds, the beach in particular, and especially when you talk about the lake, the beach is a separate entity. It is not part of the flood control dam. Therefore, that requires, and he was saying, that requires a whole different budget line. They may have to reduce staff.
I think
they
that
may
guy
have to-
was pretty much blowing smoke and is full of BS when it comes to that recreation.
But that the whole flood control main channel area that would be dredged would come out of a different pocket. And it just, it makes one think that the legislature's really got this all screwed up in a big, big way. But in any event, their budget for this year is obviously gone. They've already set the budget for next year, so they're working on the budget for the following year, which would be, I think, 18-19. There is, however, a move to fast track this on the federal side, and we will see what happens. There was hope that Leahy's office, Senator Leahy's office, would find the money and light a little burner and get this done without having to go through all the red tape of. But anyway, the survey is being done, so they can figure out just how much sludge is in there. I don't know why, but figure out how full it really is.
So then moving on to old business, the Gazebo Claim update. I have a copy of a letter that Craig sent to the Vermont Superior Court, and it says, Clerk of the Court, in the above referenced matter, Amica Mutual Insurance has returned to you an answer to the summons agreeing that the claim is owed in full. The town of Townsend is in receipt of a check from Amica Mutual Insurance Company in the amount of $3,615 and accepts that this payment is made in full. The town of Townsend therefore requests that this matter be dismissed by the court at its earliest convenience. So that should put the gazebo, now that it's winter time again, the gazebo incident to rest. Then,
Should we propose to put a Jersey barrier out in front of it or
Maybe
something like
should.
that, and try to protect
maybe
it?
it's the Christmas tree lights that they can,
We do have VLCT insurance that needs to be refiled sometime in the next 3 weeks, and then we have the opportunity to insure the gazebo. I don't necessarily recommend it. But we do, I have begun to review our insurance policies. So I will want to talk to somebody about that, to see if there's anything, see if there's anything that jumps out. But it was a surprise last year to find out the municipal property wasn't, that particular piece of municipal property was not covered by our umbrella by the LCT passive.
okay.
It's a athletic field, I didn't see it.
It's not, because it's basically already been addressed.
Oh,
Okay, so, then moving on to new business, the Townsend School Club. Townsend School Club is requesting to use the Townsend Common on Saturday, October 29th, 2016, from 4 to 8 p.m. for a costume party for the students of Townsend Elementary. Please let us know if this is possible and if you have any questions about the event. And then I can be reached via email, and I have listed below. So, what's your pleasure on allowing the school club to use the Common on the 29th?
When is the pumpkin festival?
Oh, I'm saying, I think the 22nd. I'm not positive. It might be the 15th. I don't know.
No, I don't, it's not the
I
15th.
think it's the 22nd, to be honest with you. It seems like it's 6 months away, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Time is escaping me.
Maybe we have to check with Anita too, to make sure that she hasn't, doesn't Anita?
Yeah, she keeps a calendar of
Yeah,
who's using
so.
what when. I think it's clear. I think it's clear on the 29th for those hours.
Pumpkin festival, notwithstanding, I don't see a problem with it, but.
As long as it's supervised, as the letter indicates, so.
So I'll entertain a motion, one way or another, to do something. Someone?
Well, no,
I'm fine with it as long as we can confirm it doesn't have conflicting.
Well, I need to be able to do that, so we can make it contingent on not being.
Availability.
Right.
Make a motion to let the school club use the common for the costume party, providing that it isn't already being used that day.
Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of allowing the elementary school to use the common for a costume party, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So the next thing down, you all got a copy of the Windham Solid Waste Management District recycling quote request? I think you did. If you didn't, I got it via email. It's not important, so you don't need to dig if you can't find it. Basically, what this was their attempt to satisfy the disgruntled towns over the cost of their assessments. Their assessments keep going up, and what they were hoping to do is that we all would contact a private hauler, find out how much it would cost to move the recyclables, to haul them away, and we would find that quote-unquote Windham Regional is a good deal. So the deadline has already passed for us to be able to do that, because I don't remember when the deadline was.
October 2nd, wasn't it, or 29th? I can't remember. It's
October
right
2nd.
now.
So in other words, we really don't have time to go out and look, and Craig has spoken to the individual.
I talked to Kristen Benoit on it, and recycling is not paying what it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, as everybody knows, and Irv has mentioned it many times, being the representative to Windham Solid Waste, that where they're gonna be 2 years from now is anybody's guess. Well, they're struggling financially and otherwise to make this profitable, but the assessments seem relatively high to some towns, and there has been some question as to whether the recycling was going to continue. They requested that the individual district members get a quote on what it would cost to basically haul the recycling away, and you're obliged to do it if you have a transfer station, if you have you're obliged to take the recycling. So anyway, I think it will turn out that most realize that having Windham Solid Waste drop the roll-offs and pick them up when they're full. It's still a relatively good deal. It's a bargain, I believe, for us, compared to a private hauler. We do recycle tonnage, big tonnage here in town. We could do more, and we could do it cleaner, but we do quite a bit.
So again, that's kind of after the fact, so to speak. I really have no interest in pursuing that information. The next one is,
Can we add in, we did receive our 10-year.
oh, that's right,
We did receive our 10-year certification for the transfer station. We're good until 2026. I believe certificate, yeah, June 30th, 2026. So Arnold is good to go.
the next
For 10
one,
more years, right?
Yeah, just for 10 more years. Then we do this all again.
Just Arnold or the whole thing?
No, just Arnold, the hut,
Oh, okay.
the hut too, yeah.
the
The
backer.
Vermont Community Development Grant closeout. This one surprised me, again. I got an email from Cassie Bell from the state of Vermont, basically asking me to close out on the Valley Cares grant again. And I immediately got on the phone and spent the better part, combined 3 hours, if not more, trying to figure out just exactly what they were asking of me. Because I have no idea. I've signed so many closeout, I've submitted so many financial statements and so many different reports about Valley Cares, I don't have a clue what I'm doing anymore. Come to find out that there's a lot of confusion. At the state level, there's a lot of confusion in our land records. Not everything is right. What is being asked of us now, and I will preface this by saying we've been told not to sign it until the 2 grants before it are straightened out, is the additional grant that allowed them to put on the additional units. This, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? The short little piece they added. That was done as a grant, and we sooner or later are going to have to sign the closeout agreement. But because the first 2 grants on the main buildings were not correct, she's instructed me not to sign this one yet. So at this point in time, it will have to be signed, but not right at the moment. So I would ask that when the time comes that we get all the language straightened out with the original grants, we know that things are good to go, that I be allowed to sign this without bringing it back to the board again for discussion about closing out this grant. And the reason I say that is because if I know the state, they're going to start hounding me for the fact it hasn't been done and the deadline is passed.
No, the deadline passed on July 30th.
Well, but even though I haven't, I've been told not to do this yet. When the time comes, I would like permission, especially as we get into difficulties trying to pull quorums together, that we can go ahead and sign it. We have no choice. It has to be signed. And it has to be signed because Hetty signed off on it several years ago, approving the request for the grant on the behalf of the municipalities. So
We're
this
committed.
is-
It's an online
Yes.
process. It takes place with the state should know more than it does. It doesn't connect all the dots. But it's just discovering that Valley Cares is one, 10-acre lot or whatever it is, 5-acre lot. It's under 3 different names. And they thought it was 3 different entities scattered over, 20 miles apart in the town kind of thing. It isn't. It's all under one roof. But the way they set it up and the way each of these grants is set up, it's under 3 different consortium names or technical,
That's right.
legal names so that they're legally
And that was
separate.
from the beginning. That
Was from the beginning,
You know.
but they're legally separate. So when the state is calling on this, saying you're negligent on this, and you say, well, did we do this 6 months ago? And it was a hoop to jump through, well, not 6 months ago, probably 8 months ago now. They don't have all their ducks in order. So anyway, that's what they're trying to work out now with Valley Cares, is to find out just what kind of overall conglomerate this is. This should be the last time
Let's make a
around.
motion that we authorize Kathy Hagee to sign the Valley Cares closeout grant that we've been discussing at
It's-
her discretion.
It's called the assisted living
The
extension.
assisted living extension grant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of having me sign the Valley Cares assisted living
Grant
expansion grant closeout, signify by saying aye.
No,
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. The original is on your clipboard, I've got my copy.
Yeah.
So when we go looking for it, you'll know where it is. The next one, oh, good golly. The next one is the state of Vermont, in their infinite wisdom, has now decided that all Act 250 applications are going to be handled and distributed electronically.
well, that's true with everything now at the state level. I mean, they do it with tax returns and with any Secretary of State licenses. The whole state's gonna be paperless pretty soon. It's gonna
Yeah, but
be
every
all-
municipality's getting buried in having to print that paper, and when they send it electronically, they give you a deadline of like 24 hours.
I know.
As opposed to 2 weeks.
I know.
You know, so I mean,
Well, but
it does change things.
They did the same thing. My license expired September 30th, and I got it Monday, I had to renew it. But it has to be done electronically.
Okay.
It's
We
200
don't have any choice in
It's
this,
200
but-
bucks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that whole, it's all, everything's going electronic. I don't know if it's anywhere.
Well, unfortunately, we, being the select board, have to delegate the town clerk to receive this on behalf of us. So I actually have to sign a piece of paper allowing that to happen. It says delegation of authority by selectmen, aldermen, trustees to the city town clerks to accept service for purposes of Act 250 application notice. And they want this signed and returned.
And if you don't do it,
I don't guess we don't get notified at all. Save us some paperwork. Plus the planning commission has to
You're
sign
their
this
own.
as well.
Well, they have to go some.
Yeah, so we both have to sign to allow the clerk to receive this on our behalf.
And then again, if you don't do it, they're just gonna stop mailing it, and
Yep, you
no,
won't
you
get
gotta
any.
do it.
we don't get them now. I mean, we haven't had them
That's
for
what
like 3 years.
That's what it is.
Well, having gone through an Act 250 with rescue, I know exactly what's involved. And I don't know if you ever, did you ever see the final folder?
Yeah.
The Act 250 folder, of all the application pieces was that thick.
Yeah, but did you see notices coming in from the state to the town clerk, to the select board, from the state, saying that rescue wants to build in West Townsend? One maybe.
I think the initial one, yeah.
I think the initial one, but the follow-ups haven't come in. The planning commission never received it. I mean, they did because you dropped off all the paperwork so that everybody would be up to speed. But it's not that the state hasn't provided that information.
So I would entertain a motion to designate the town clerk, have the authority to receive on our behalf the Act 250 application, notice of application from the District 2 office.
So,
Is that
Second.
Act 250 application, read the schedule, see notification of application, okay.
Electronic.
Pursuant. That must be in the language.
On behalf of the board.
You know, it honestly doesn't say electronic.
You're authorizing her to receive it. I assume it's because they're paperless, they'll receive it electronically, which means her email address, as opposed to the town treasurer or the select board administrative assistant, is the address that they will use. And that means she does have to read through the.
She has to sign up on
She
it.
gets 200 emails a day. It's just another one to
yep,
miss in the system. She
Yeah.
does. She gets a stack.
I know, well, it's,
I mean, I do too. Most of mine are pretty quick to go through because they're
Like I
junk.
said,
But
it actually doesn't, on what we're signing doesn't say it's going to
okay,
be
well, I
electronic.
won't put it. I won't put electronically in the motion then.
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay. Motion to designate the town clerk to receive Act 250 applications on behalf of the select board from the state.
That's correct.
Okay.
So,
I need a so moved from somebody.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
all those in favor, signify by saying
no.
opposed. Motion passes, so,
Discussion.
yeah, well, after the fact, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Get it off the table.
Okay, so I have to do this, I have to do my name again, I don't know my name. At least this one, I don't need your signature, but I need to know this,
And I should run that past planning commission.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, cause they have to sign off on the top part of it. To,
Third.
so Craig, do you wanna make sure she gets this in the morning, cause she has to sign it, or do you wanna get the,
I'll
get the planning
give me,
commission
give me,
first?
I'll take it, give me a day and I'll see what I can,
Okay, so 9:27.
see what we can get it
Can you
completed.
pass that down to me, please? Okay, so then the next piece there is the schedule for the budget workshops. Do we have any, can we think that far ahead?
Now, it's gotta be done by March.
It has to be printed by March, Kyle. Any ideas?
Any volunteers?
Do you have any volunteers?
It shouldn't be too bad this year.
No?
Budget workshop.
I didn't know if anybody's got any, nobody can see ahead on the calendar any more than I can, so we'll just let it ride. But it's
Can't see
just,
around the
I put it on here, it's just a reminder that it is that time of year again, it's getting dark at night. It is time to think about next year. With regard to budget, I've had the next item, town report, I've had long talks with Ms. Davis with regard to the town report, and she's gonna need, a budget to print, so we do have to put out a budget at some point, hopefully by early December.
So, yeah, and then there's the town report again. I think she's also asking us indirectly through Anita and through Greg, what we want in there.
Yeah, and we also have to ask all the other partners in our typical, please letter.
Well, and it's, usually set a deadline, it's realistic, and then
'Cause that
pile on
was-
the forgiveness when you don't get what you want by that point in time, but on people for a couple of weeks after.
Well,
But it
it's
depends
gonna-
on what you want in it.
I was gonna say, it's gonna fall on us to do that as opposed to the auditors this year.
Right.
So, we wanna make sure that information gets out to everybody.
Oh, we can get a memo out. I mean, we also have an audit coming up here pretty quick too. That's gonna involve.
Yeah, until the audit is done, it doesn't really make much difference to me, because the whole purpose behind it, of the report, is the audit. So, any other business that you want to continue? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay,
So,
aye, no, yes, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, okay, thank you.
Alright, just so, you all know